listening to New Roads, New Rules, the podcast where women come together to navigate life's big transitions with honesty, humor, and a whole lot of heart. Here are your hosts, Sandi and Terri. Real women, real talk, and ready to ride.
But you're my bestie for life. Yeah, you. We're the family I choose. Yeah, you. BFFs till the end. We can get through this together.
Season 3, Terri. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, we're doing great.
Fine.
We're doing great. Season 3 is upon us, and I'm excited to kick it off.
Yes. Should we explain what we changed up a little this year?
Yes. Why don't you start?
Okay, let's. So we're starting our third season. We do 12 episodes a season, right? So our first season was us just trying to figure out how the fuck to do everything and what to do and how to get it right. And we had the microphones backwards one time. So, we figured that out. And then second season, we got our wonderful intro and our little tidbits. And that was fun, and the new website and things like that, and the platform.
And we built our roadies. They're all over the world now.
Yes.
And we've built, especially in New Zealand, which is second to Ireland outside of the U.S.
I know. I mean, somehow we got to finagle like a trip. Out of it. And then, so season 3, what we're doing this season is we've split the amount of episodes. So Sandy's going to take the odd numbers and I'm taking the even numbers, and we're not going to tell each other what we're doing for that. We're just showing up, and it's just like, so today it's Sandy's episode.
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Okay.
So
I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what we're talking about. So today we're going to tackle a workplace topic that's all too real. So how to move up the ladder without kicking someone off the rung below you.
That is a good one.
It is a good one, especially for women.
Right?
I mean, I know it is for everyone, but we women in the workplace have a hard enough time without, being ugly to each other, right? And so from advocating for yourself to being a true team player, this episode explores how women can succeed at work without competing destructively.
Correctly.
You'll learn ways to showcase your ideas, own your achievements, and build influence while championing your peers. And I have a cold, so championing is hard for me to say.
She's got a cold because she's been traveling to the Caribbean.
Yes, I'm good though. I'm good. So let's catch up then. So before we hit the topic, we did have a couple weeks off. We played some of our favorite, some of our most listened to and favorite.
Our two most
listened to. Yeah, those are the interviews. And so we had
Penny was our first week, and then our second week was the Crescenzos, Cindy and Steve, talking about how they work together and not kill each other.
And then what did you do in the time that we weren't recording?
Spent some time with the family. When did we stop recording? What have we done? Work, life, dogs, the whole shebang. Yeah,
Same. Yeah.
And then, we just need a couple weeks off just so we can gather our thoughts and prep new work for, this is a lot of prep.
It is. It really is. And so we did spend some time doing that. And we also got to celebrate you and I together, because what happened?
I wasn't going to say anything. It's not my news.
I know. I'll just say it. My divorce was final.
Yay!
So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's still things that, we're dealing with together, like the house being sold and all of that, but it does kind of help to put that chapter behind me and start to think about what my future is going to look like. So,
well, it's going to be very bright and sunny.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about it. Climbing the ladder without crushing.
All right.
Getting ahead without stepping on others.
Yes.
So, we've seen it. We've all seen it, right? The person who climbs the ladder by pushing everyone else off. Oh, we see it all too often.
All the time.
Oh, it's so gross, honestly. But what if success didn't have to come at someone else's expense? So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's see. I do have some research points, and I'll start with that, and then Terri, I'll let you take it from there.
All
okay?
right.
So I feel like for a long time, it felt like, especially when I was younger, it felt like every woman for themselves. And now we're trying to transition into a more collaborative and allyship, right? And I don't know if it's because I'm older or there's just more talk around it. But I definitely feel like it's an important topic to talk about. So according to the 2023 Gallup Workplace Study, employees who are perceived as collaborative and trusted by peers are 41% more likely to be considered for leadership roles, which I love that because that means that everybody is paying attention to see if you are collaborative, if you're working with your peers in a positive way.
Right.
I do think that makes a good leader. Don't you think, Terri?
I absolutely think that. I think a good leader is one that is open to listening and suggestions. And I mean, that's the whole part of being collaborative, right? And I don't think that business owners should just think they know it all. And they should listen to their employees and others,
Right. Agree. Well, and then there was another study by Harvard Business Review. There was an article that managers promote individuals who demonstrate emotional intelligence, initiative, and the ability to elevate others' performance, not just their personal achievements. So again, it's those people that are sitting in the room with. Have you ever seen people in a meeting that sit in a room with the higher ups and their personality completely changes?
It drives me crazy. Can we be any more of a hypocrite? Like,
I know.
You just before walking into that room was bad mouthing them usually. And then they go in and sit down and they act like, oh, everything's great. You're great.
Or they act like they know everything about every topic, including your own.
Right.
So that is another thing that I've seen. Where we're in a meeting and somebody will comment on something in my area and it's almost like they're trying to show that they could do my job. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you're not saying the right thing, first of all. And secondly, I hope people are understanding this.
Right.
Right.
Right. It is crazy. I think, it does become more about not exactly what you do. It's, how others feel when they're working with you. And even those people trying to do the impressive, your job in an impressive way, they're not thinking about how they're making other people might feel uncomfortable by them doing that,
Right.
So it just goes to show that, I feel that when you show that, it does show that you are closed-minded. You are not you might not be open to criticism, and everybody gets criticism in the work. And honestly, you should always get some critiques, right? Nobody's ever perfect at their job. It's
the minute you think you are, it's time to move on.
Right. Exactly.
You don't know everything, and you probably are not doing the job justice if you feel like there's nothing to learn.
Right.
So let's discuss how we can show up at work for others.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to go back to when I started, like I have a background in sales, right? When I started in, I don't know, my 20s or whatever, there was, I had a female manager. Her name was Dawn. And, went through training. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I was always the kid who plays well with others on my report card. So I know how to get along with people. I can talk to anybody.
Surprise, surprise.
Right.
Surprise,
Right.
surprise.
So that part I have down, but like there were some instances in this job, in the sales position, and she would always give me some advice, and she was always very encouraging, but not only to me, but to like all of us, and and that situation has always stuck with me throughout my entire career. And I knew that I always wanted to be a boss like her when I grew up.
Right. So she was your example.
She was my
everybody
example.
has an example.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was my example. And that's how I've been in many management positions, and that's what I try to do with other people, because I'm not I don't know everything about it. So, those bosses that act like they know it all, they're always right, whatever. I think it just creates a hostile work environment personally.
Yeah. And I agree. And I also think like another thing, not just the boss, right? But each other, our coworkers. Another thing, acknowledging somebody else's work publicly is important, right? Because, we all hear, yes, the boss should do it, of course.
Right.
But it does also help coming from your peers.
Right.
So I definitely
because sometimes you feel like the boss is saying it because they have to say it. So do they really mean it, or is it just because they know they've got to check that box off?
Right. And sometimes it does mean more coming from your peers, because I know everybody wants to be acknowledged by the higher ups, the executive team, but it does help to have your peers acknowledge you as well.
Right.
And then also like if somebody's struggling, right? So offering mentorship or help on an issue that your coworker is, struggling with, maybe that more about, to help them shine, like anything that you can do to improve their performance that will help them shine themselves, that is also important.
I agree. And I think that as peers, talking peer to peer, doing that to help with mentorship, or just, hey, this is what works for me, if you want to try it, blah, 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 instead of trying to compete with them, instead of seeing this person struggling and now just trying to, I'm going to like hit him when he's down and just, try to sneak in there,
And
so
why do they do that? Because they want to hit them when they're down so that they can show they're the better employee.
Exactly.
I cannot stand that.
Right.
I cannot stand it.
And I just think as a person who has been in a management position and has seen people do that as employees, where I stopped it, but it's just like, I see you. Like that is not, to me, that's untrustworthy, and I can't, it's just not okay. And, and I think management should stop it as soon as possible, but I guess I guess it's more prevalent, or would never stop, depending on the line of work you're in. Right. Like,
agree.
It just, it all depends. Yeah.
I just think celebrating each other is important, right?
I do too.
Celebrating others' ideas, and contributing with your own confidence. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that it's important to have that. And it also like speaks to positive morale. And, there's a quote, and I'm not sure where it came from or if somebody specific said it, but it's, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
I totally agree with that. You have nothing to lose when you're helping out, or, you're not a healthy competition. There's nothing wrong with healthy competition. It's the unhealthy competition that is no good.
That's absolutely right. And also, I think collaboration is good, but you have to be careful that you're not, there's a difference between collaboration and codependence.
Right.
Like, you don't want that person to be like, you don't want to get resentful because
Right.
you're doing all the work for that person. You're supposed to be helping them
Right.
do the job themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So
and standing
there's a
up for
fine line.
yourself. Right.
Yeah.
But that's, you having to stand up for yourself and
Yes.
not staying silent about your own wins. You've got to be your
Yes.
own, cheerleader all the time. You always have to be your own cheerleader. You're your number one.
Yes, and that's really, speaking of fine lines, this is why we're talking about it, because there's fine lines on all of these, right?
Mhm.
So how do you be your own cheerleader and highlight the work you're doing without making it look like you're boasting so that, right?
Right. So
you-
I think it's just your presentation. Okay. Again, I'm
Right.
going to go to my sales background. It's your presentation. I'm going to say, oh, I led this, group into creating this instead,
Right.
where you should be saying, look what we've done together.
Right.
And
right.
that's,
Exactly.
and that's, you don't want it to become just about you. And,
Right.
it's how you present it.
But
everything.
you can say, I love what you said about I led this, but look what we did, right?
Mhm.
Because it does highlight respectively what you've contributed, but it also highlights that as a team,
Right.
you guys achieved this. Yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
love that too.
But yeah, I mean, you also have to, again, standing up for yourself, like speak up. If you have ideas, say your ideas, don't like shift it off and say, hey, Sandy, why don't you tell them,
Right.
Do this,
Right.
you say.
Or also ask to present them, right? Because
Right.
some people don't want your ideas. I mean, you know what I mean? Especially if it's not in their, if let's say it's not in their wheelhouse, it's not in their area of work, right?
Right.
But they have an idea. They should be asking the person in which it is their area, do you
Right.
want to hear my idea?
Right.
Instead of just stepping
On their
into
toes.
it and trying to overtake.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's super important, right?
Right. And I mean, again, what helps too is, keep your emotions out of it. You constantly want to focus on you growing, you getting better. How can I get better? How can I,
Right.
make this workplace better? And how can I contribute to that?
Right.
Stay away. I mean, office gossip and frustrations, it doesn't help.
No.
It's literally
It
like a
doesn't.
fast spreading cancer.
Oh,
So
it is. It's contagious for sure.
exactly. And we have enough crap going on outside of the home and outside of our business places. Leave all the crap out there.
Yeah,
In here,
agree.
positive attitudes. Because you don't get anything done. And I really can't, I have a difficult time when it's, people like the poor me constantly, and
Ugh, I
the
hate
Debbie
it. They're
Downers,
playing the victim. I'm the victim in everything.
Right.
Ugh.
And that aggravates me. It aggravates me in my personal life, but it really aggravates me at work.
Agree. Agree.
Let's just keep moving forward here. So
let's talk about what employer. I can't tell. I'm telling you, I cannot form my sentences properly. What do employers really look for? So, what does leadership and HR value when promoting from within? We talked about some research points, but let's kind of talk through some of it.
yeah, well, I would think consistency, reliability. You've mentioned before the emotional intelligence. How do they resolve conflict? Because there will always be conflict. There's always conflict somewhere.
Yes.
Even in
Not
Disney
just
movies.
Right. Even in Disney movies. I love that you said that.
Even in Disney movies, there's conflict.
I think I love that you said that, because it's not just conflict resolution when it's like the business and a client or an external partner or something. It is also resolving conflict from within. And that also speaks to the teamwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leaders love that you can resolve your own conflicts within a team.
Right.
So I think that's super important.
Because there are, speaking for myself, like I hate micromanaging. And if somebody's got to make me micromanage, we're not going to be happy. Like,
what a waste
like
of
that
time,
would be, as a manager,
you know?
somebody I don't want on my team if I constantly have to micromanage.
Yeah. So also visibility, like being known for results, not noise, right? So like if you're citing specific hurdles, specific challenges, it's important to put the noise. It's important. I can't talk. I'm telling you, it's important to turn down the noise and prove that with numbers, metrics, right? You want to make sure that you are showing the company, this is why this issue is important. It's not because I'm trying to make noise or I'm trying to get somebody in trouble, but I think we need to improve as a team because, and offer the visibility and the results. Because as a leader, nobody wants to hear because we're busy. Like, really? What does that mean? Right. What does that mean compared to, but if you show me a chart that says you're taking 50 more phone calls a week than you were a month ago, then I can say, okay, I see what's going on here. You guys have increased your, productivity or your requests by this much,
Right. Yeah, no, I think so. And also, adaptability, a lot of, I don't think there's any job that, you might have to flex like on an instant and come up with something right away. And so you have to be adaptable and open to being able to do that. And honestly, own your mistakes. People make mistakes. I think the biggest thing I've always wanted to try to tell and get my kids to understand is that's the best way to learn something. Granted, you don't want the mistake to be like detrimental to like something. I mean, because again, we're talking about multiple different businesses.
No.
But I mean, that's how you learn, by making mistakes. And so
there are different levels, of course, there are different levels of mistake, right? But I always, no matter what team I was on or who I was leading, I would always say, if you don't learn from it, mistakes happen, everybody makes them, nobody's perfect. Right. But if you don't learn from them, that's when we have a problem. Don't make the same mistake twice. You should always learn from them.
Exactly.
Of course, some mistakes are bigger than others and might need to be addressed differently.
But they should still learn from not to do that again. Yes. Like it's still it's a still learning a point right there.
Agree. And don't waste my time by telling me like
shoving it
trying to cover your butt.
Exactly.
Like cover your butt. Don't waste my time. Just tell me you made the mistake so we can get to the resolution, right? So I have another research point. So I was just going to say Deloitte's Global Human Capital Trends Report shows that trust and collaboration have become the top 2 leadership traits companies prioritize for internal promotion. If I can't trust you, I'm not promoting you.
Exactly. No. And if you can't show that you can collaborate as a peer, there's no way you're going to collaborate as a manager. So I wouldn't promote you either.
Agree.
No.
So I guess it turns out being the office mean girl doesn't get you promoted. It just gets you uninvited to lunch, right?
No, you don't get invited to lunch.
The worst is if you get a whole group of mean girls, then there's a big problem.
Right. Well, then you're going back to the negative work, and that again, that's for a manager to jump in and say, hey, we're not doing this. Like, this is not happening.
Yeah, which brings us to like, what do we do, right? When others are not playing fair? Like, what do we do? So,
I mean, for me, it's hard because one, does the boss already know what's going on? Because the boss should know what's going on, right?
Absolutely.
You want to speak up. My thing is no matter what happens, always stay the professional. Always take the high road. And always be professional. And that doesn't mean that you have to keep your mouth quiet, but you just have to address it professionally.
Yeah. So I have an actual example because I made this mistake and I just want to share it. So I had been through so many different leaders at this one job I left a couple of years ago, and I was there 20 years, and I was a leader, but I had so many people above me that every time it changed, I just continued to prove that I didn't need help, right? So I wouldn't bring anything to my manager because I was just handling it.
Right.
That is not the way to lead, because there are some things I just wanted him or her to know that I could handle it.
Right.
I've got this under control. But what it backfires when it becomes a huge problem that is not getting any better, and then you're not making your leader aware of it, and you're just going around in a circle trying to do it yourself, and you're not making any headway. Because again, just like we said, if you think you know everything and you don't need any improvements, you're not going to get anywhere.
No, you're not going to.
And so it was a big mistake to make. I think you have to, at some point, you have to go to your leader and you have to say, this is the issue. This is what I've done so far. I'm looking any advice on what I can do next.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is what I've tried. I would not go to a manager unless I've tried to resolve it myself.
For sure, always.
And whatever. You just, again, it's all about staying professional without becoming passive. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to own any mistakes you made, right? But speak up for yourself. Show how you're professional by saying, hey, I was thinking this is how I can resolve this. I want to help resolve whatever is going on, right? I mean, because basically at the end of the day, it's your reputation. That's basically, it doesn't matter what's on that sheet of your resume. It's your reputation. So if you stick to your integrity and you're consistent with that and consistent with being positive, you'll get further. You'll get further in life.
I agree. 1,000%.
And still sticking up for yourself, because you won't get far if you keep just taking it and not dealing with it.
So absolutely. And so one of the things you had mentioned too is take the emotions out of it. And so this is also a lesson that I've learned too, because how do you respond if someone took credit for your work? That's an emotional thing. If you've worked hard on something and somebody else took credit for it, you have to point out what you've done, but not in an emotional way. No. I did this, she didn't do that. Because that's finger pointing, right? And so how would you, Terri, respond?
I mean, if it's something like that, first of all, my daughter was always in volleyball, so I have taken a rule from volleyball and applied it to my life. 24-hour wait. You have a 24-hour hold before you respond to anything, right? So I still do that in my personal life. I'm on a 24-hour hold right now.
I understand.
But, okay, so how I would do that, I would wait the 24 hours or, whatever, ask to sit down with the boss. If you have worked on something, you would have a trail of work, right? Look. I have this, I want to talk to you about this because this was presented yesterday by so-and-so. However, this is something that I have truly been working on, and let me show you what I've done. And this is how it's gone. Now, if the manager blows me off, my emotions will come into play.
I might lose my shit.
I am not going to lie. If I went the high road and it didn't work and they were still not listening, I'd probably lose my shit.
Well, there's an alternate. I guess there's alternates to losing your shit, right? So if, let's say they blew you off, is there a way you could put together a thoughtful email, or contact HR. Right. That's a little more than the 24-hour
more than 24 hours on that
one. Or is it the type of organization where you can reach out to HR, right? I mean, I know not every the small businesses might not have a separate HR department. There are things, right? But I guess the moral of the story is when you find yourself in an emotional state, the 24-hour rule is probably a good one.
Right.
So take after Terri and give it a beat. Like take a
You got to
minute.
take a minute.
And
I have learned
yeah.
that multiple times in my life. And
Yeah.
again, it's a volleyball rule, you know, you have 24 hours. So
Yeah.
it's best because honestly, you jump off the handle right off the bat and you put your emotions in it. You usually then you usually then have to start backtracking on things that just fly out of your mouth, right? That happened too.
Right. I mean, me too. I was not always as reserved with my words because I thought, you know, I guess I got into leadership in my 20s, right? And I always thought that I just said what was on my mind all the time. Because one of the things I liked about my previous leaders was that I never had to guess what they were thinking. But I also was kind of mouthy in my 20s.
No.
And so sometimes, yeah, I know. It's hard to believe. It really is. So sometimes it came across very poorly. So, you know, you live and you learn. Anyway, we should talk about, we should transition. What do you think? Do you want to do your turn?
Sure.
It's your turn. Let's hear what you have to say.
I want everybody to think about someone at work, past or present, who helped you grow. Like, I want you to think of your version of my Dawn. What did they do that made you feel seen or supported?
Let's do it.
We want you to share your story, of course, on our social media, Instagram or Facebook, or how about newroadsnewrules.com? Come on to the platform and share there. If you're feeling brave, I want you to take it one step further. This is my challenge because I always have to throw the challenge in there. I want you to go out publicly on LinkedIn or on your company chat or something and shout out to your mentor and give them, you know, a high five and let people know why you think they're your mentor.
Oh, I love that. I think that's a great idea. And I think, you know,
you should look up Dawn on LinkedIn, see if she's on there.
You should. I think we rush through our days just trying to get our tasks done. And, you know, it's difficult to take time to appreciate. One of the things I do love about the company I work for now is they have multiple ways of celebrating this type of thing. They have peer-to-peer recognition where they give prizes out. You know, they have a monthly drawing. They have forums where we have monthly meetings and they'll call people out for various departments. And I think they do a really good job of highlighting. So I am happy with the company I am at right now so that, you know, for this reason, you know, they really do celebrate people. So
that's good.
Yeah. So
not everybody
does. I know that's the thing. Like when you're having a bad day, it's good to remember the positive things that a company brings to the table, right? So when I have a bad day, I try to think of all the things that the company does for their employees, you know.
And now it's time for the rule of the week.
So rule of the week.
Yes.
Here's the rule of the week. You can climb the ladder without kicking anyone off the rung. I think I think we should encourage each other to reflect on the things that we might have done that were harmful to others, maybe even not on purpose, right? Just think of the actions. Are you building your career with others or are you building your career over others? I think that's an important question to ask yourself. So true leaders, they rise by lifting each other up. They lift others up. So I think that, you know, it's really important to remember those things.
Yeah, I agree. Just remember, success does not have to be a solo act. Just because you work collaboratively, I don't know. You work together. You work well with others.
It was so much better than my speech, this whole thing. So I'm good. It's about time you made a little mistake. Jeez.
Oh, now I'm going to get giggly. So.
Sorry.
it doesn't have to be a solo act.
No, agree. No, totally. So now we're both getting giggly. Recognition and respect can coexist. So
Yes.
just remember.
And one last thing, the best leaders create more leaders. They don't just create followers. Really, a good manager should be training the next new managers.
Right, exactly. I love that
and
so
showing
much.
them how to do it.
I love that so much. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Well, this was a great first episode for season 3. So I cannot wait.
I think it's our first business one, so that was fun.
Yeah, it's a good one. I really do believe in, especially women, celebrating other women in the workplace, although it does apply to men as well. So I don't want to leave the men out. And I cannot wait, Terri, to find out what the next topic is going to be.
I know. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
All my topics I'm trying to pick out.
I'm not good at, I can't do research if I don't know what the topic is. So
nope, I will have all of that for you.
All right. It'll be fun. I cannot wait.
All right. Then we'll see you guys then. We'll see what I come up with.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
But you're my bestie for life.